The following podcast is a next level production.
So your brother told us about your Avengers party?
He did.
Yes. And even though it will be a distraction from your studies and there will be a lot of haram going on there, Kamala, we have decided to let you go.
Really?
Yes, but there are special conditions. Your Abbu will drive you there and he will go inside with you for 2 hours. And as far as your dressing goes, I have a surprise for you. The Hulk! Wait, best is yet to come. Ta-da! See, Kamala, big Hulk and little Hulk, Bada Hulk or Choti Hulk. Huh? So cute you all will look. Huh?
Hey, panelists, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about the Ms.Marvel Season 1, Episode 1, entitled Generation Y, which dropped on Disney+. So this is another Marvel product that we're going to actually cover from now on for this whole season itself. So, Steve, why don't you give us a little synopsis on Ms.Marvel?
Sure. Kamala Khan, a teenager growing up in Jersey City and mega fan of the Avengers, feels a little out of place at school and sometimes even at home. She is determined to attend AvengerCon, even if her parents won't allow it. But that starts off as a Captain Marvel cosplay competition takes on an unexpected turn. Is she becoming one of the superheroes she's always looked up to? Very cool. Yeah, it was a good premiere.
Yeah, I thought
good
so
first
too.
episode.
Yeah. Initial thoughts. What are your initial thoughts about the actual episode overall?
It was good. I have to admit, I don't have a lot of notes on this one, but I did just like I was saying earlier, I just rewatched it the episode before we started recording, so it's pretty fresh. But I love what Disney and Marvel are doing with these last two shows, Moon Knight and Ms.Marvel, because we're getting these diverse characters, the diverse cultures. Yes. We had Egypt with Moon Knight, now we have Pakistan, and of course Jersey.
Jersey.
with Ms. Marvel. And so it's interesting to see. I was really excited to see that part of it, and I'll be excited to see it's, just like with Moon Knight, I noticed at the end a lot of the names in the credits appear to be probably, I'm assuming, Pakistani. I don't want to make any assumptions there, but I'm assuming that's where a bulk of their crew and their producers and stuff are from. So that's great to see that representation. That's the word I'm searching for. That diverse representation.
I have to agree. Definitely. I thought it was a great introduction to the character itself. Something that I wasn't familiar with within the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the only thing I remember from her is when reading Secret Wars, when they did Secret Wars in 2015, is around the time when they brought her in. And it was a new version of like a new Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, whatever you want to call it. Different power structure at this point. No Terrigen Mist as compared to the comic. In the show, she gets a bracelet. It's through Arabic heritage from her grandmother, which I think is very cool. I think it's very interesting. Honestly, these shows are adapted from comics, so there's going to be differentiations from the comic to the screen. And what they did, I thought, was pretty cool because it shows ethnicity in it. So we get more Arabic culture within it, especially with her parents, and how I think they're a little bit more Americanized than most. As I recall, when I was a kid and I knew people that were either Pakistani, Arabic, or Egyptian cultured, a lot of the parents were very stringent. These people are very much stern with their kids, but in Kamala's case, she's one of those that just, looks to the world, and her world is in fantasy. And we do see that, and that's what I loved about the whole atmosphere of the episode, too, because we're seeing it through her thoughts and her eyes, and it's very cartoonish, and I love that aspect in it.
Yeah, I thought that the integration of animation with the live action was really cool. With her daydreaming and stuff was awesome to see that mix kind of there.
Yeah, it added to the warmth of it and to the character itself, and knowing it from her perspective. I just really love that idea, and I'm looking forward to what we get. Now, mind you, the powers are different from the comic. In the comic, she's very stretchy. She's like an elastic woman, like kind of like Reed Richards.
Yeah, this is more like a kind of a Green Lanternish kind of. It manifests in whatever she kind of needs at the time.
Exactly.
You know, because like that when he's boosting her up onto the roof to crawl back into her window, he's like, did that just come out of your shoe? And like some little light came out and she kind of jumped up a little bit. So I think it's going to be an interesting. Does she fly or does she jump? We're going to have the same Jessica Jones conundrum. Does she fly or does she jump? But I'm excited for the rest of the series. I'm excited to see where they take this character. I'm excited to see, the formation of a new hero. We haven't really had that. Yes. I mean, I guess Moon Knight kind of was, but Moon Knight was known to some of us. Like he wasn't known to the outside, a lot of the public, but there were several of us, you and I included, that were fans of the Moon Knight from 40 years ago or 30 years ago. And so I was excited to see that, to see this character who's relatively, like you said, she was introduced in 2015 in the comics, to see this relatively new character in a different version of the character. I'm hoping we're going to get a cameo at some point from Captain Marvel. I think that would be amazing. Really
Brie
cool.
Larson coming in.
Yeah. And to see where that takes us, because I know they've kind of revamped, or they've talked about revamping the Marvels
lineup
movie, or is that
the Avengers?
For Captain Marvel 2 is what I meant. They've kind of revamped some things with Captain Marvel 2 because of this new character, and it's going to be exciting to see when Captain Marvel 2 comes out.
Yeah, especially you already spoke about it. The fact that she's going to be involved within that particular movie, so we already know from the show. We're going to get her in the cinematic universe as well. And the actress is very talented. I really enjoy her. She does bring it forth and bring the warmth of the character, and you feel for the character as well within her family. And her struggles. Yeah,
the warmth and the innocence and that struggle, like you said, of she has this mother who's very strict. The father seems to be kind of meek, which I love the dad, by the way. We're already into our points. So let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. I loved the father. I thought he was, even though he was kind of a meek personality and a meek character, I really just loved his interaction. I loved how he's portrayed, just the idea that he was willing to go along with that Hulk thing.
I love that his
scene. Wife was just classic, that he was willing to go along with that, and that it hurt him to the point, where even with the Matt Lintz character, when he says, "Oh, Mr. Khan crying, I don't want to see that." She's like, "I think I made my dad cry." So it was really, really cool. And like I said, her mom's kind of more strict. And then we have the brother, who I was a little confused about the portrayal of the brother. Was he supposed to be more, strictly to whatever religion? I'm assuming Muslim.
He was more Arabic. Following. He would always do the prayer. He was very stern. Yeah. And then she actually looks at a picture of her brother going, "Oh, when they were younger." So he was a little bit different too back then. Now he's more correct to their culture. So he's the model of what their parents want. Whereas Kamala is still living in Fantasyland according to her mother, very much like her grandmother, which the bracelet comes from.
I loved that. As soon as I saw that bracelet, and I'm sure you were the same way, all of it, and especially the way the music played and everything. As soon as you saw that bracelet, you knew that bracelet was going to come into play. And I wonder, now this is one of my suspicions, and I think they're going to develop this through the rest of the season, but I wonder if the grandmother had powers.
That's what I was thinking.
And somehow that's what her mother is trying to keep her from becoming. Or maybe Kamala's mother didn't know, and she always thought that her mom was just this crazy also person kind of in Fantasyland. But as she's going to find out, no, her mom actually did have powers, and she has now passed those on to Kamala. It's going to be interesting to see that develop and to see where they take that. Whether so, I think we're kind of on the same page with that one. That we're both expecting that there's going to be something about Nani that's going to come out that I just loved. And the brother, we talked about the brother a little bit. He's in an arranged marriage. We haven't met the woman yet,
exactly.
But he's apparently has some sort of arranged marriage going on there. So that's going to be interesting to see play out as well.
Yeah, I don't think her brother's future wife is going to be Nadia from The Boys, but not to throw a little touche to the last podcast, but the fact is, it hit the heartstrings. It gave me that feel of Peter Parker as well. But in this case, she has actually a family. And then with this, in the very beginning, she learns and gets these abilities. And it is a new character. And I look forward to it. To me, like, just go off my first thought. We already spoke about it, the whole cartoon background as she's talking. Mm-hmm. And she's talking to her friend Bruno as, about the Avengers and everything else. But as soon as they start talking about Captain America, it goes to like a zombie thing, and they talk about zombies. And we see the cartoons turn into zombies on the wall, on the buildings. And to me, I thought that was pretty cool. It was a great effect in storytelling with her thoughts projected in the background, especially with her, because obviously she does a podcast or a YouTube. And she's pasting in, and in the very introduction is of her doing her little media, and we get her story about her love for Captain Marvel, and we see all the different iterations of Captain Marvel too, because Carol Danvers had long hair, and then next thing you know, she had the regular suit, and then she had the short hair, and it's pretty cool how they present everything the way it is. It kind of gives it that new meta look, very much like Spider-Man, Homecoming, No Way Home, and Far From Home.
Yeah, very, very cool. I loved it. And Matt Lintz's character, Bruno, is so... I was a little confused about... does he live in the same building as her, or is it different, or are they close enough? Because he tells her to meet me on the roof in 10 minutes, and there was a little some timing issues that I was confused about. But, and like he's trying to apply to Caltech, and he's got all these gadgets that he's making, was really, really cool. I think it was great that he dressed up as Bruce Banner, not as the Hulk. I thought, and it was great. He's wearing that lab coat, and she's like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm Bruce Banner." It was just really, really cool. He's very cute and, cute. I hate to say it about a guy, but, their relationship is very interesting as well. This very, again, a strong friendship. I don't think there's anything romantic there or anything like that. I think it's just a very strong friendship that they have, and they've bonded over these things. Now, there was another character that I'm a little confused about, and I don't know if they're going to show us more of her or not, but there was another apparently Hindu girl in the school. We saw her twice, but she was wearing like the traditional headgear and stuff. So she must be from she must be more of from a traditional family, but we see her at least twice in the episode. She doesn't say anything. She just kind of like shows support or encouragement to Kamala, which I thought was interesting, and I hope they flesh that character out a little bit. I hope we get to see more.
Yeah, I agree. And there was another character too, Zoe, who is popular within school, who has the same thing. I guess she has Instagrams and everything else. She has a ton of more followers or whatever. But she... Somebody says 100,000 followers, and Kamala corrects her and says 80. She only has 80,000. So obviously they have a kind of a rivalry going with their social media presence. Maybe. Yeah, that's a thing too, because this is Generation Y. That's what they do. Everything with their presence in this world is based upon media and what they do. And from you and I, from where we lived in the 80s or went to school in the 80s at that point. It's kind of strange, because you wind up like, wait a minute, we never had to go through that. It was kind of different. It was very much jock, nerd, and everything else oriented. Whereas with this, it's very much everything highlighted upon social media. And that's what this generation had grown up on. And it's very interesting take to look at it from our perspectives. But yeah, we got Zoe. She does show up to Avengers Con, and it's because they're doing a Ms.Marvel cosplay contest. Obviously, we know Kamala and Bruno have created this new suit for her Captain Marvel, cosplay. And then we see Zoe, but Zoe looks like the Ms.Marvel from the comics from, I would say, early 80s. With the mask, the little, I would say, scarf, and the tight knit suit and everything, and a skirt. Yeah. And even Kamala says, "Because that's not accurate." It's like, but Kamala actually put a more accurate suit together, and Bruno created those cool gloves. They lose the gloves. Overall, I enjoyed it in the sense that it was more of the journey, and the one cute scene that I see is her sneaking out, and she jumps for that branch, and she falls on the floor.
Yeah, I love that moment when they're on the bridge and they kind of look and they're like, "No, we're not doing the whole jump we jump from a bridge on our bikes," and she's like, "You got to dream big." And then we see that same moment when it's in reality, and they're like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing
exactly."
That. They just go down the stairs. So I thought was really, again, a cool thing. It was sad that she lost her bike. But
Jersey City.
It was cool. It was cool to see them kind of that double riding, the riding double like that. And, he's very quick to get her out of there when her powers kind of manifest. Yes. And he's like, cause Zoe didn't recognize who she was. Cause she's, Zoe's like asking her, "Oh, do you do parties? This is a great costume. You've got this light show that you were able to do." But then when she saves Zoe, she disappears. Yep. And that's cause Bruno pulled her out. So that's going to be one of those interesting things, like you said, with the whole Peter Parker thing, to where we're going to see how does her secret identity kind of play out. How is this superhero? Because, she's still learning, and we saw at the very end, she's kind of playing she's in bed there, and she's just kind of lighting up her hand. And so she's kind of using her powers and trying to learn about it. So I thought that's going to be interesting. Again, it's going to be kind of cool to see a superhero develop. Yeah. We haven't seen that in a while, to see the development of a superhero.
Yeah, the last one that we got was actually Peter Parker, Spider-Man himself. And that was
several times.
Several times, but I'm talking in the MCU in the sense that we were introduced to him during Civil Wars, but then we actually saw him develop with the 3 films. And, we just ended on the third one with No Way Home. And now we don't have anything new. Maybe with Ant-Man too. Remember with Paul Rudd when he first started out on the scene?
Yeah, there was some development there as well. He had to learn how to use the powers and use the suit. So yeah, we did have that with Ant-Man. I kind of forgot about that. Yeah. So we have had it, but it's going to be cool to see.
It's like you talked about
this actress, right? And this actress brings an innocence and like you said, a warmth to this character that's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how does she play out? Is she gonna wear the bracelet all the time? Is she going to take it on and off? What's going to be the way she actually uses it? And so it's going to be interesting to see. I'm intrigued. It's only one episode in, but I'm excited to see where this series is going to go.
Same here. One part that I truly loved within the actual episode was Avengers Con itself, because you had so many cool things within it that you actually do see at conventions. But in this case, they have like a Hulk section, and then you can power up like the Hulk and do a whole bunch of events. They had a Thor section. There was this the music and the announcement that they had at Stark Expo during the con. I don't know if you caught that from Captain America 1 or the first Captain America.
Yeah, I heard. So I caught there was a lot of things alluding to the bigger MCU that was out there. That was really, really cool to see. And we once we get to it, we need to talk about that post credit scene as well when we get there. But I just remember we did get a line from that character, that other girl, because she's the one that says, I do hate the game though, when they're talking about Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So she's like, if you're going to invite me, but for whatever reason, maybe she's not as big a fan of the Avengers as Bruno and Kamala are. And that's why she wasn't involved in going to the Avenger Con. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. Again, the counselor character is going to be interesting to see if we see more of him. He's kind of a jerk, but at the same time, he's trying to not be a jerk.
He's trying to be the
he
friend, and you can tell that, he has to be a gay male who works in a school, but is trying to adhere to helping these kids and talk to them on their playing field. Yes, Kamala Khan, that needs you. Come here. And it's so cool for the fact that he's able to, but he snaps her out of it. He goes, "You're doing it again. You're daydreaming. What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's like an adult understanding these kids, despite their sexuality or anything, but you could tell he was a little bit flamboyant and you know who he was. And I love that aspect that we actually do have something like that, because within the comic, they actually mention that Kamala herself was a gay character, but I don't know if they're going to actually do that within the movie or the show.
Okay, so
movie itself.
Yeah, I was confused. I was confused about that because I've heard other people say that and I've seen that in the comic book. Is she a gay character?
From
in the
what
comic
I
book?
read and what I remember, they were playing it off that she was a gay character.
Okay, so we don't know yet whether the TV series is going to follow that.
I don't think they will.
That path.
I don't think they will. I'm thinking if they do pursue anything, we know that Kamala's got these powers. She's just going to be learning. She has her best friend, who I think is going to be like our Ned for Peter. He's going to be her. He's going to be her guy in the chair, and he's going to help her out and get her where she needs. But what I do see in the future, if possible, and it's probably me hoping, something romantic between these two kids. Because you could see how he is with her family and they love him. With the way they treat him, it's like family. And I wouldn't be surprised, or maybe there'll be a love triangle or a twist eventually in the future. I don't think they would do that within the first season, but I just love the fact the way that Matt Lintz comes in. And Kamala's mom calls Bruno Beta because he does all this cool stuff. And
but she was calling both both Kamala and her brother. She was calling them, or she was calling Kamala Beta as well. So I wasn't sure. I kind of didn't understand.
Might be an Arabic thing about kids.
Maybe, yeah. They were definitely calling Kamala Beta, and I couldn't hear what they called. They did call Bruno something. But they definitely called Kamala several times. They called her Beta. Okay. And I don't know, like you said, if that's an Arab thing because she's the second child, the brother would be the alpha. She would be I don't know. Okay. Or I'm not sure what that was referred to, because they kept kind of going in and out of Hindi, Arabic, and English. Like they would sprinkle in some of those Arabic
especially
words
every
once in a while. And and in the closed captioning, you can see that it's a different language. Yes. So, but they didn't identify it in the closed captioning that I had.
Yeah. So. Disney Plus, please fix that. We need to know. We want to be aware of these things. We want to be proper. I did enjoy that too. For the fact, it's funny how they make fun of she makes fun of the brother about praying before he eats, and the father actually says, he goes, by the time you finish praying, it's going to be cold.
Again, that's where I was a little confused about some of the little character points there of the parents aren't quite as traditional but yet the brother, because he's got the beard, and that's very Arabic, the beard he has. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of intermix this.
It might have been the fact that, if you think about Kamala's mom and her father is not as strict as her mother, but I wouldn't be surprised if the mother initiated the idea of her brother getting married and having this arranged marriage, and then the brother complying, and then the father is just there being like, I'm here, I'm the fun parent, and and you could see that Kamala and her brother do have a relationship, but it's one of where he is stuck in that world as time went by, and then, she's on her own path.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's always, I'm the youngest of 5, and I just spent my vacation. I was with my brother and my sister who are both in their 60s, and so there's a little bit of a generation gap there. And you can see kind of the same thing here between her and her brother. There's kind of a generation gap to where her brother looks like he's in, at least his late 20s.
I would say his early 20s. I wouldn't say late.
Okay, he might be that young. The beard throws me off with ages.
It does,
so he may be closer to her age than but I just got the impression that he was a little bit older than her. But we'll see going forward. We'll see who the if we ever do see the wife, the fiance, we'll see, and if they ever do, because we don't know if he has a job. Yeah. We don't see him working. So it's gonna be one of those things that it's only the first episode, and we've got a lot to go forward. It's only 6 episodes. It's another one of the 6 episode ones. So we'll get these close to an hour length episodes.
Yeah, but we were given very much a lot of good stuff with Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Falcon and Winter Soldier, all that good stuff. WandaVision. We've been given all these great. I think WandaVision was longer, if I recall.
Well, yeah, WandaVision was more of a 30-minute. They were more 30 minutes until it got later, and then they went a little bit longer, I think, in the later episodes.
I think they found that trend with, okay, let's do 6 episodes at close to an hour, like 40 minutes plus, and then that way that's it. You get like almost 6 hours of entertainment from this. At least it expands and works on the story, at least. And that's what I do appreciate about with these. We have more to look forward to because we're going to get She-Hulk, and that I'm looking forward to as well. All the coming attractions and trailers are amazing with that. But yeah, I think we're probably going to get introduced how she learns her abilities and then go from there. And the next step would be movies. And I think they'll probably do that with She-Hulk too as well. And with Moon Knight, we kind of left it off where he can come back, as we know. So I wouldn't be surprised if, who was it that was the third character?
Jake Lockley.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, we're going to see. I don't know. I'm still, like, I love the Moon Knight series. I just hope we're not done with it. If they just leave it at that, I would be disappointed because there needs to be more of him in the MCU, whether they do another TV series or they do a movie or they get him into the they need to do something more with that character. I just feel it's going to be, and now we're drifting off from Ms.Marvel, but that's fine. They'll have missed for me if they don't do something more with Moon Knight.
Yeah. There's so much that they could do with that particular character. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, back to this. The penultimate, my last favorite moment would be the cosplay event, and when she does, her powers do come into play. She's thrown up there. The lights are on. She puts on her grandmother's bracelet. Power kicks in. She falls back. It's like if she's in another world. Now, I didn't stop the screen or pause it because there's a lot going on within that scene. Mm-hmm. So it looked like images of people behind her, like spirits or something. And then she comes back to reality.
Yeah, I think, again, that's going to be another one of those things that hopefully they'll give us more of that at some point. Yeah, fill us in on what's going on with that. Because like I said, maybe this bracelet is kind of a Green Lantern kind of thing to where it's passed down from generation to generation to other people. And maybe she'll get something like that. So the only thing I've got more on this is just talking about the post-credit scene there. And I've heard a lot of speculation about it. I didn't see some of the things that I've heard people, I guess that maybe they've paused it and that they believe these 2 characters were agents from the damage control department. That's what I've heard, speculated, but, obviously we're going to see them again but we haven't seen these 2 particular agents before, right?
No, but the funny thing is the last time we actually saw anything of damage control was literally in Spider-Man Homecoming when we saw, Tyne Daly's character walk in. Now we were just talking about Tim Daly before we recorded because he'll be at Terrificon. and my friend Rob and I are going. But Tyne was there as Damage Control talking to Michael Keaton's the Vulture character. That was the only time we encountered those people. And now they're coming back, so I'm curious if the government has something more involved with kind of like superheroes or anybody of anomalies.
Well, remember that we are in the post
Endgame.
What were the Accords? The
Accords. Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
We're in that to where superheroes are supposed to be regulated and
or registered.
If a new or registered or something like that, that if a new superhero pops up, they're going to have to do something about it. And so
I enjoyed that. I'm curious to see what they do next. It's kind of similar to with Kat Dennings, and I'm forgetting that the Asian actor's character who was in Ant-Man. He was Randall Park. Yeah. They were part of that whole thing where they were investigating Wanda. And they were part of the government. It could be that same company. Who knows? It could be part of Damage Control. Who knows? I'm just going to take it as it comes to see what we get. Yeah. And that's what I'm looking at. I'm not reading any books. I'm not looking more into Ms.Marvel. This character right now is something I am not entirely familiar with, just like with Moon Knight. So I'm taking it as it comes when it comes to the show. I only know a little bit about the original character from the comic. But they did push that particular character to be part of the new Avengers. Or the Young Avengers, as it were. So if we do get a Young Avengers, we might get that out of this particular character as well. But we don't know until time comes.
Right.
For quotes, I only have one. And this is Kamala's mother saying, "This is my fault with my genetics. We all came from a line that had daydreamers, and my mother was one of them as well." Meaning that's where Kamala gets it from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the only one I have is the one that I said before when they were talking about Smash Brothers, and she says, Kamala says, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." And the other girl says, "But I do hate the game, though." So I thought that was great.
All right. We don't have any feedback. We're going to skip podcast recommendations and YouTube recommendations. We'll leave that for a longer podcast episode. Okay. But for the most part, we'll just go right into how people could submit their feedback.
Obviously, you're listening to us on your podcast player of choice, whichever that is, Google Play, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We would love for you to give us a rating or a review. If that's possible, we'll give you a shout out if we find out about it. So, look us up. We're on all the big ones.
Yep. And check out our website, which will be panelstopixelspodcast.com. Currently under construction, but it will be completely finalized by the end of July. I am working on that. I have Bluehost on my side.
Very cool. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/panels2pixels. That's panels to pixels, all spelled out in words.
We are on Twitter, and that can be found at panels2pixels. So @panels, the number 2 pixels.
We have an email address, which is panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels2pixels1. The TO is spelled out right in the middle, and the number 1@gmail.com.
And you could just send us out a regular texted email if you like. If you don't want to be out there writing a bunch of stuff and want to talk to us, just record yourself, put it as an attachment on the email, and just send it to us. We'll play it right here on the podcast, and we'll comment. You can find us on YouTube, and all you have to do is search for us on YouTube with Panels to Pixels Podcast. You'll see our podcast image right there. So all you have to do is subscribe and give a thumbs up. All it is the podcast itself on YouTube. Sometimes, just sometimes, you might find a video there. Look for that particular video when we achieve number 200. And we have a lovely guest.
Yes. So. We are on Instagram @panels2pixelspodcast. That's all spelled out in words, @panels2pixelspodcast on Instagram.
And check out all the other podcasts on the Next Level Podcast Network. We highly recommend them all. Wilhelm, especially with Ben Beck, with his coverage with celebrity interviews, as well as his breakdown. I really loved his George Clooney one that he did with his friend about all the 5 top George Clooney movies that they loved. Really interesting. I sent some feedback in there, and I really enjoyed it.
I did as well. I still need to listen to that one. It's queued up.
It's awesome, dude. It was pretty cool. I think I gave Ben a zinger. He goes, "Oh, well, Mark sent a long message here." But actually, it was pretty cool. He really enjoyed it. He didn't realize about a movie that I mentioned. And he was like, oh, I forgot
Nice.
he was in that. So check those out. The Melting Pad is on there, Podcast Zero, and so much more. All you have to do is go to nextlevelradioonline.com, and everything will be in our notes as well, so you can get there.
Very cool.
So where else can listeners hear us?
Well, you can hear me right here on Panels to Pixels podcast. I'm back, and Mark and I are going to be doubling up here the next few weeks with The Boys and Ms. Marvel. So, plus there's a lot of content coming out this summer that we're going to be excited for you to hear what we have to say about it. You could also hear me, as I just mentioned, I send voicemails to various podcasts that our friends do.
Awesome. Yeah, that is true. We're going to have a lot more content as we go by. Well, where else you can listeners hear me? Well, I can be found on the Pyrocore Entertainment Network with Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. You could easily just look for Adrenaline Cinema Podcast on your podcast player of choice. There we cover action, adventure, thriller, suspense films, fantasy films, all the cool stuff that gets your adrenaline going. Last night, Reba and Damien and I did a combined, it's a Watched It in the 80s and Adrenaline Cinema podcast all in one. And you got three of us talking about Top Gun Maverick. So check that out. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be next up in your queue by the end of the week. So check that out when it comes out.
Very cool.
And so with that, that's our coverage of Ms. Marvel this week. We will be back next week for The Boys, Ms. Marvel, and probably whatever else is coming out. Who knows? I think Thor Love and Thunder is going to be coming by the end of the month. So we're going to have to cover that as well in some way. But that is our show for tonight. And I look forward to hearing from you guys if you do have any feedback. So thank you all for listening. I am Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Panels to Pixels. And we'll see you on the next panel. Good night.
Good night.